And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Crusty Old Guy with us once again. Just as a reminder, folks, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either stop by Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. It's still the dog days, Crusty. Every week I get more and more twitchy to watch hockey. Any hockey. I need it.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Not soon enough, but sooner than we thought. But we're going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
First, the NHL world. Really, not a ton of things have happened in the NHL world, but since it is the dog days, I thought this would be a nice reminder because I hope our listeners are not individuals who are like this. Guys, you can like hockey players, you can not like hockey players, but let's not be weird and like dox their address and send threatening things to their wife and family. Let's not be weird. There's a line between, just you cheering and booing in the game and trying to bring harm and vocalizing wishing harm on players. Guys, it's weird.
Yeah, it's all nasty. We don't like to comment on society in general, but unfortunately, these are just hockey players.
Right.
Okay, they're just playing hockey. Yes, we get a little rabid about it, but they're just people.
Yes.
Okay.
And for those who don't know what we are talking about, there was an interview with the lovely Mitch Marner. He kind of talks about his final days up in Toronto, the end of the playoffs for the Maple Leafs, and that, shortly after Toronto exited, his address was leaked. People were encouraged to show up to their house. Guys, that's weird. And there were a lot of people. What I was mainly horrified, but not surprised by any means, is the way that the Toronto media has decided to spin this interview that Marner gave. Either kind of making it smaller than it is. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Marner's a drama queen. Like, he's always blown things out of proportion, or comparing this. Well, obviously Marner's lying because Nylander can take the subway to games with people. So nothing really bad is happening to Marner. It's all fine. Or people, I think, are just butthurt about Marner leaving and they're choosing to be nasty. Guys, this Marner is not the only person this has happened to recently. The doxing of the address, I'm not entirely sure, but the, hateful messaging is become a significant more common occurrence. I know one of the larger ones also in the postseason was Stuart Skinner during the finals. Don't be mean. Don't be weird. As much as we like to talk about it and we're very passionate about it, it's a game. It is a game. And let's just go into the season with some kindness and not being very hateful towards players and their families.
Yeah. It's all just kind of gross. It's all just over the top crazy. I will quote a comment by Paul Westerberg, which he decided to put into a song. I owe you nothing. Any hockey player you're a big fan of, go out and get 4 jerseys. I got 4 jerseys signed by Duncan Keith. And Duncan Keith owes me nothing. These
Exactly.
were my decisions on how to live my life. Okay? Mitch Marner is just a kid living his life, doing the best he can. He's not the biggest problem in Toronto, and it doesn't make any difference if he is. Okay? Then you should be glad he's gone and let's move on. But the threatening of people over a hockey game, these
Is
are
insane.
human beings. Again, they owe you nothing. You can try to say the whole I pay their salary. Trust me, you don't pay your salary, their salary, okay? You know, if everybody stops watching hockey, yeah, that might change. But good luck with that. There's tons of people who do this all at a normal pace. I don't think it's anything you need to worry about with your listeners.
No, but I was, like I said, I wasn't surprised, but I was still horrified of listening to the interview and what Marner and his family has had to go through, especially because this seems to be a common occurrence, especially with teams that are in the postseason. Like I said, with Skinner, with Kadri's family a couple of years ago when Colorado was playing the St. Louis Blues. It's happening enough and it's becoming a pattern enough. And I think, in my opinion, too many people are minimizing it or kind of sweeping it under the rug. I'm looking at you, Gary Bettman. And so I think we just need to, be nice. Don't be a dick.
Yes. And really, the NHL sweeping things underneath the rug because
They've never done that
they
ever.
they don't want things to get out and make their game look bad. You've got to be kidding me. I'll get to that later.
So yeah, that's kind of the big thing in the NHL right now. Like we said, there's a lot of, it's the dog days, so everybody is gearing up for camps, be it here or your prospects that are in European camps. We'll talk about ours in a second, but that's kind of really what it's going on right now. Still some lingering Olympic talk, but not really. But one exciting thing that we have to talk about, because we really didn't talk about this last week. I remembered it quite literally right after we finished filming last week. And that is the Flow Sports.
The what?
Guys, I get more hockey than you do.
Oh.
So as we've said before, the easiest way to watch Rockford, at least last year, was to watch it on Flow Sports. You can get a monthly subscription, or I have a yearly one because it tends to save you like a couple of bucks each month if you just get the yearly one. And it was great because it was Rockford, the ECHL, the USHL, and a couple of other leagues. And the biggest thing that I really liked was they didn't delete after a certain point. So you could go back and watch a game from 5 months ago. Not that I did, but I could if I wanted to. Big news that came out about a week and a half ago is they are adding the OHL and the Q League. The W is the only one that's not added out of Canadian juniors. But you got the OHL and the Q League, which means for anyone that watches Rockford and has their subscription, you will be able to watch Jack Pridham, Merrick Vinegar. I don't know where Misiak's going to end up, but I'm assuming Ty Henry and the rest of our OHL prospects. We don't have anybody in the Q League right now. And there will be there'll be some spotty games for college hockey. I've learned that you actually get more women's games with Flow Sports, then you get men's college hockey games. So if the season gets really bad, or even if the season doesn't get really bad, I might just watch a lot of women's college hockey, especially leading up to the Olympics, because that sounds like an actual fun 60 minutes. So it's great. We have more hockey. Now there's like 12 leagues that you can watch in the subscription. And I'm a big fan of this. I think it's highly accessible, just the game of hockey with the subscription, unlike CHSN. And so, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and it works out well for this show because you get to keep your eye a little bit better on the prospects and everything else. And I did my one little year or two stint watching prospects, and I'm kind of over that. So I like watching the big club and then other NHL games.
Listen, as long as Sam Savoie is stuck in Rockford, I'm going to watch.
I hear ya.
So, got any other big news things that you'd like to share about before we get into our
I don't
regular
think so.
shtick?
I am, it was a heavy fantasy football draft, so I couldn't pay attention.
Lame.
So, and there's nothing going on. We're looking 2 to 3 weeks out before everybody starts reporting to camp and everything. So I believe we're 22 days away from. Go ahead. I think you're going to start with this, so let's go.
We'll segue to, guys, for the past couple of years or so, I'd say, to my memory, this is definitely post-COVID, but I don't know how many years if they did it pre-COVID. They've done the Tom Curvers Prospect Showcase. And reminder, because the college kids have gone back, that this is essentially some Rockford guys, but mainly your prospects, kids that are in juniors. You're able to kind of like see how they do. It's us, Minnesota, and St. Louis, and then we kind of just like rotate on who hosts it. Minnesota hosts it this year. We will host it next year with our big shiny new rink as we take the Chicago Steel away from the nice folks at the Fox Valley Ice Arena. But we will have it next year, but Minnesota has it this year. That is in like less than 2 weeks. Guys, we have hockey in less than 2 weeks. I don't know how we're supposed to watch it. We didn't even find out officially until today. Shout out to Ben Pope for telling us that it was coming up soon. And then they just dropped the times. We don't have a roster yet, but you can kind of assume that it's subtract any college kids, subtract Frendell because he'll be over in Sweden. I doubt he's there. And not any of your like big hitters that don't need to report to camp yet. And that's kind of who you're looking at for this prospect showcase.
Yes. As far as Frendell, he had a little experiment on the wing for 2 games, and I believe he is now going back to center. So I read that today. The Tom Curvers, before Tom Curvers, they had one up in Door County or whatever. What's the big town way up there? Supposed to be beautiful. Way up Michigan way, the top. Traverse City. Yes. And there was like 6 teams who did that. And was on Krusty's bucket list, and then they switched it up and now are just doing this one. I believe we were supposed to host it this year, but with, as Hockey Princess said, with the renovations going on, it's now back in Minnesota again. It'll start your hockey fix. So, there'll be a good enough young talent. And
I'm hoping that, because at least the other ones have been like streamed on like the website or
it'll be streamed
YouTube or something. I just need to watch pucks moving, skaters skating. I just need it bad, guys. I'm getting twitchy.
No, the Hawks are still completely in the selling the future mode. you're not selling your on ice product right now. So I guarantee there'll be a way to watch that, because that is what you're attempting to talk about the most.
With the prospect showcase, quick question to you. Because we, like we said, we can kind of have a picture of what guys in terms of forwards and defensemen are going to go. But we have a lot of goaltenders in the pipeline, friends. Do you, first off, do you think Comesso goes? Or do you think they're at the point? Okay, that's what I'm. That they're very much at the point where Comesso. They're like, we know what Comesso is.
Yes.
And like I've said before, college kids can't go, so Adam Guyon is not going to be there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. We're traveling. While Krusty's traveling. So that means we've got Stanislav Bereznoy, which was the acquisition from the KHL, right? I don't think on free agent day, but right around free agent day, right around the beginning of July. You've got Cameron Rowe from Western Michigan, but he had graduated. So I believe he's graduated. So I think he can come. And then there's a goaltender from the Barrie Colts, whose name I'm blanking on right now. But so we have 3 goaltenders. I think this will be they're definitely going to be pushing sell the future, but they'll have a lot of new faces in net that should be at least entertaining.
I'm terribly sorry, but I've had to relocate.
Mm.
I believe the neighbor kid, now that it's completely dark, has started cutting the grass.
Mm.
So,
excellent.
I've had to adjust. Sorry.
It's fine.
You were saying?
We've got some new faces in the goaltender department with no Comesso and no Guyon. You're figuring Bereznoy, Cameron Rowe, and the kid from the Barrie Colts, whose name I still can't remember.
Yeah, so they'll probably maybe even bring a 4th from anywhere.
Weeks? Or are you not going to make Weeks go through that again?
If Weeks is still in the... now the kid, I think, is going to attempt to cut the front yard. I don't know what this kid's doing. We might have to adjust again.
That's fine.
We got to adjust.
Why don't you just go inside, Krusty?
Because Krusty's not allowed to smoke inside.
That's lame.
And Krusty has just lit up a cigar, and he's not going to waste it by going inside. Krusty overcomes, he adapts. Okay? See? Let's keep on talking. We got 3 goaltenders, awesome. Maybe one more.
This is awesome. So yeah, and your other big ones that you won't be able to see for the prospect showcase is your Sasha, who has taken up the Ryan Green number at the Boston University, wearing number 9. He will not be at prospect camp. Julius Sumpf, who starts at Providence College, no mustard, and I thought there was another one aside from Guyon. That might be it. The big one is no Sasha.
Yeah.
And no footballer, because he still has high school.
Yes, he's playing football right now, and I've been told there's no truth to the rumor that Kyle Davidson attempted to make this an off-ice showcase also.
Yeah, was this the rumor, or did you just start this rumor to rage bait
just started it for the heck of it.
Krusty, old guy, the classic, the original rage baiter.
Krusty loves sarcasm. So, but yes, no truth to that rumor.
All right. Got anything on the prospect showcase?
No, it'll be nice to watch. It'll be nice to watch hockey. It's nice to watch the kids. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's nothing more than, gosh, you just hope they're all healthy. But usually there's some nasty hits in some of these games. So
Yeah.
you got to
Some
be.
of us haven't healed from one of them.
So you just you got to be careful.
Yeah,
So
definitely. All right. Well, Christy, would you like to do some predictions or share things with the class?
let's do predictions.
All right. One moment. So, friends, we've done the Atlantic, we've done the Metropolitan, and now we are jumping to the Pacific Division with our predictions this week because we can only do one division at a time. Because if there's one thing Krusty and I like to do, it's yap.
Yep.
In no particular order, the Pacific Division includes your Anaheim Ducks, your Vancouver Canucks, your Seattle Kraken, your San Jose Sharks, your Calgary Flames, your Los Angeles Kings, your Edmonton Oilers, and your Vegas Golden Knights.
All right.
Let's see how entertaining or how boring this one is. For my number 8, it's really not a change up whatsoever. It is the San Jose Sharks. I don't think that they have pieces, as everyone really likes to highlight how much the San Jose Sharks have gotten in the draft and free agency and everything. It's still not nearly enough with the rest of the division because, as we like to say all the time on this show, just because you're getting better doesn't mean everybody else stops getting better. So, however, I do have them at last, but at the end of last year in April, there was a 24-point differential between 7 and 8. And I think San Jose is going to be in last. However, I think that gap tightens and it's significantly less than a 24-point differential.
We'll see. I mean, you've got just much more established clubs that are in front of them. Granted, yes, they're going in the right direction. I'm with you on San Jose. That's an easy pickings one. There's still so much work to do. So it is what it is.
It's not what it's not.
It's not. But hold on, before we get to it, can I show your listeners? This is outside right now. How do you think that kid's cutting the grass? What do you think that's going to look like tomorrow? Okay, let's carry on.
And 7. Who do you got, Chris?
7 I love Ron Francis.
Mm-hmm. I do too. Well, I have the same team at 7. Not that I love Ron Francis because I get confused by this team.
I have the Kraken. It is what it is. They got Mason Marchment in the trade. Freddie Gaudreau. You didn't add a ton, so I don't see how you just start jumping over people. So they're in a bad way. They have a lot of good pieces and maybe like 2 really good pieces. And
yeah,
it doesn't get it done. They have Matty Beniers and they're hoping Capo cockpit, but that ain't gonna happen. That's enough of a track record. They've got some decent defensemen, but you look at the talent, the rest of the division, and it is what it is.
Gavin McKenna, you are a Seattle Kraken. I'm with you. I also have the Seattle Kraken. I've talked about in many a prediction or just throughout the season. I like the Kraken, and I do agree. I think they have pieces. One of the biggest things that I have been vocal with is I don't understand the culture of the Kraken. I don't understand what type of team they are supposed to be or are on the path that they want to be, I don't understand. Like, you look at Florida, you look at Vegas, you look at Edmonton, you know what type of team that is. It's very clear. With the Kraken, I don't know. Even with the Ducks, they're not high performing like the ones that I just mentioned, but you know what type of team they are right now. Where the Seattle Kraken, I don't know what type of team they're trying to be, and they need somebody that Matty Beniers can play with. You need another guy, um, because you can't just one rely on Matty Beniers, and two, I don't think that you can be incredibly successful with just one guy. You know, Johnny has Kane, Ovechkin has Backstrom, Crosby has Malkin. You need another guy. So I also have the Kraken at 7.
Yeah, and I mean, when the Kraken get out of that is anybody's guess. The pressure put on by Vegas in their entry into the league put it to where you wanted to be competitive right away, and you're competitive but not very good, so that is killing you as far as high draft picks. And you haven't made a lot of trades to get more draft picks. You're just kind of
There.
you're kind of there and stagnating, and it's a bad place to be. So I don't know exactly how they fix that. I know their identity was going to be big defensemen and very reliable forwards. And that's just not enough to get it done. You need some star power, and you need to be able to put the puck in the net occasionally. So good luck to, Ron. I'm hoping, but don't look good.
Yeah. 6. Speaking of, I'm hoping, but they don't look good. I think there's a possibility that this team can go on a heater because they have in the past. And maybe I'm just doing like a reverse karma thing. If I put them lower, then they'll do well because I like some of the people on this team, not all of them. But I've got the Vancouver Canucks at number 6. I first off, I just don't think that they have enough to get the job done. Yes, you have Quinn Hughes. Yes, you have Pettersson. You have some forward guys, but you don't have enough, and it seems to just be getting worse as the years go on. I also still think, even though Miller is gone, but I really don't think that it was Miller 100%. You have a locker room issue. You have a culture issue within that team. I don't know how you fix it, partially because I wasn't in the room and I don't know what the problem is. But there does seem to be a problem. Something's not working. You have 4 puzzle pieces from a different box, and things are just not working. And there's the big if Thatcher Demko is healthy enough to at least even play 50%. Granted, I'm a big Kevin Lankinen fan, and that just means more games for Kevin Lankinen. However, I think the Canucks in the standings, it's a huge difference if Thatcher Demko is relatively healthy versus if he's just out for a while.
Yeah, I've got it at number 6. You're knuckleheads also. I think you've hit the nail on the head with everything with this team. At the end of the day, Elias Pettersson is supposed to be a superstar. And if you are a superstar, that means you have the ability to put the team on your back. And anytime that's come up, he's failed. Now he's saying all the right things this year. But But then again, you look at their second line, and you've got Connor Garland and Evander Kane. That's not an incredible second line. And if you're banking on Kane is going to play heavy minutes, Kane's old with a lot of miles. I like the way the guy plays at times. He always goes into idiot mode and will mess it up anyways. So another reason why you can't rely on him. Defensively, does Quentin Hughes have enough help? No. Tyler Myers, you got old retreads. It's just, it's like a good buffalo. It's like a good buffalo. At the end of the day, could they? Yeah, I love watching Connor Garland play. I like that little midget and his attitude. It's phenomenal. But I don't know if Quentin Hughes just isn't a leader. I don't know if Quentin Hughes is too young. I also believe it's difficult from a defensive standpoint. But there is something void there as far as let's get this all together. Ideally, you would love to see Pettersson take the reins and become a leader. I just don't see it.
Right.
I mean, for Vancouver, for hockey, I'd love to see it. I think it would be a great storyline, but yeah, oh well.
I also, when it comes to Quinn Hughes being a leader, I think there's a difference between being a leader and being a great leader. And I think I don't know if he is a great leader, but I also think there's been so much that has happened and there's been so much roster turnover that it's definitely got to be harder to be a great leader with a locker room with negative structure and negative consistency. Like you have consistency. Well, we saw a great leader with Johnny and had a lot of consistency with our guys. We didn't have a shit show. It's got to be different and harder when you're younger, not necessarily built to be a great leader, and it's kind of a shit show.
Yeah, it just is at the end of the day, and I hate to saying people are leaders, aren't leaders. I don't think I know enough. Uh-oh. Now the boy in complete darkness is going to cut the back of my yard. Now, I don't know how this guy's going to cut the grass. He can't see anything, but we're going to have him cut the back, and we're going to go to the front.
Okay.
So tell your listeners to hold on.
All right. So we're holding.
Huh? Oh, he says he can see. How many fingers am I holding up?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he can't.
Keep going, Krusty.
All right. I was told to take it easy on you. All right, hold on. We're going.
We're holding. We're holding. Right. There's a lot of movement in tonight's episode.
He says he'll be done soon. All right, we're moving. All right,
moving. We're rocking. We're rolling. While Krusty's moving to the front, with number 5, I think this, like I said this last year, that I think this will be the first breakout year where they're not necessarily bottom of the barrel. So number 5, I have the Anaheim Ducks. I think they're going to make a lot of splashes in the duck pond, a lot of noise. You've got a lot of additions, both behind the bench and on the bench. However, I don't think that they make too much of a splash, but I definitely think they're the ones out of the Pacific that make the most improvement between last year and this upcoming year. But I don't think that they are going to be jumping a crazy amount.
Gosh, we've gotten really boring.
You also have Anaheim?
I also have Anaheim. Again, I would have liked to put Anaheim a little higher. But you look at the rest of the division, and that just becomes too difficult.
Yeah.
There is a ton of chatter. I don't know if all that chatter is just Chicago based because of the new coach.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is there's enough talent there, and there's enough depth there for Q to be Q. And what I mean by that is, as I've mentioned before about the problems with the Blackhawks right now, is there won't be an accountability problem on that team because you're not going to see the ice. It's just going to be that simple. And there's enough talent there where he can sit people. He's got enough veteran leadership. Shit, just in Trouba and probably Kreider.
Yeah.
Not alone the rest of the kids. Carlson, he's a European kid. They're always a little bit quieter, but they lead by example, just like Barkov has his whole career. Yeah, there's nothing rah, but you sit over there and look at the guy busting ass all the time, makes you want to go.
Yeah.
So they're going to be fun. Does Tolstoy handle it? A lot of people think he's the shit.
I think he has potential to be the shit. However, in my experience, rarely have I seen a backup or someone that was not starting jump into the starting role as a goaltender and immediately do well, with the exception of the team that I have at number 4.
Okay, that was a nice segue if you want to just segue right away.
Number 4, I have the Calgary Flames because Dustin Wolf is going to save that entire roster because he quite literally is the shit. That's mainly why I just have them up so high. But also, Calgary is one of those where it's like they make some noise sometimes. I think they're on like the quieter side in terms of the teams in the Pacific. And a lot of people had them a lot lower last year, but things were clicking, things were working. And I think that they realize that the pieces that they have right now are working. And I think they're trying to see how much they can build off of that and less like moving those pieces around. And like I said, Dustin Wolf's the shit.
That's who I have it for also.
This is so boring.
Yes. Like, don't tell them that. They won't listen to the rest of the show. Yeah, Calgary's also a team that has probably 3 or 4 people kid-wise on the cusp of maybe making this team. They've got Will Mann, the defenseman who played for BU the last 2 years.
Vilander?
Huh?
Vilander?
Yep. He'll have a chance to make this team. You've got some forwards that are going to have a chance to make this team that could really improve. You've got solid veterans, and they played real well. They could surprise even more.
Yeah.
It's basically a decent veteran team. I mean, Kadri's been playing phenomenal. Huberdeau's been playing well. It's just, I could see them breaking out and things gelling, especially if Will plays really well in net.
He's insane. All right, number 3, who do you got?
Huh?
Number 3, who do you got?
I got the Kings. You're stuck. The Kings did not do much. They lost a defenseman. They picked up another 2 or 3 old defensemen. And, people can say what they want, but their problem last year in the playoffs was they had 3, maybe 4 defensemen. That was it, and that's all they could play. At least with the Cody Ceci, they're not going to be shell shocked, and they're not even going to give him minutes. They'll be able to play 6 defensemen come playoff time. Their question marks are: does Kopitar still have it in him?
Yes.
He's defying Mother
Yes.
Nature. Byfield, I figure, should be even better. Will Turcotte step into a bigger role? There's enough young talent there. There's enough old talent there. Still not completely sold on that goaltending. But they play the right way usually. And
I'm clueless. Who is Los Angeles' goaltender?
You're clueless. I believe we have a Darcy Kemper and a Cooley.
No, Darcy's only good if he's playing for the Caps.
If he's what?
Playing for the Caps.
Yeah. So they both played well last year. They weren't the problem. Their defensive core was the problem. It's that, and it's 2 breaks, and they easily could have knocked Edmonton out.
Could we interest Los Angeles in a Kevin Korchinski or a defenseman?
Huh?
Could we interest Los Angeles in a Kevin Korchinski or a defenseman?
Oh, I think you definitely could. I don't know what you would get back for him, but yeah, if I'm any team like that, there's a lot of teams that I would be interested in taking a flyer on, especially if I can surround my Kevin with 5 other really good, stable defensemen. Sure, I think he becomes more attractive, especially if he's inserted with a lot of veteran defensemen. I just don't think it's going to work here. I just think the struggles will be too, but that's a topic for another show.
Yep.
We're now going to move back to the backyard. It took them all 2 minutes to cut the back, so I can't wait to see it in the morning.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, while Krusty's moving, we're going to go through number 2 that I have. And this one, I don't like either team that are number 1 and number 2 right now. So I really need another team to get it together in the Pacific so I can stop listing these 2 teams as number 1 and number 2, because I got beef with both of them. However, out of deep, deep spite, I cannot list this team as number 1. So therefore, I will list it as number 2. Number 2 is your Edmonton Oilers. This is purely out of spite with some logic behind it, but really not.
Okay. I think he might be cutting his own backyard, so I'm going back to the front. Teams are head and shoulders above everybody else. Whether we like it, whether we don't like it, that is irrelevant. I have Edmonton as number 2. I think they're also underneath the belief of they're not concerned about how they season.
Yeah.
I believe they will start to do with what I guarantee you Florida will do, and there will be some in-season resting and not worrying about things. They also, I guess we'll talk about Edmonton first, then Vegas.
Sure.
We could easily flip-flop either way.
Yeah.
They've got some...
I just have spite.
Right. You don't like either team, and then you really hate Vegas. But Edmonton has Stan Bowman, and that is really my spite. This man cannot be listed as number 1. Right. And they've now got some other younger talent that might be making the lineup.
I wish we could have had him.
You have Howard and somebody else also. So they've got some other young kids knocking at the door. They know what it takes to get there. The regular season is just the regular season to them. So it is what it is. I mean, we know what's going on. I mean, Maybe LA can jump over both of them during the regular season, but
Maybe Calgary can jump over everybody.
that would be nice to see. I just think both teams are just too loaded and there's just too much there. And then so you have Edmonton at number 1?
No, I have Edmonton at number 2 because out of spite, I cannot put Stan Bowman number 1.
Oh,
He
I have
is
Edmonton
the
also at number 2.
Yes, we have the exact same Pacific Division predictions. Vegas, at the end of the day, like I say all the time when it comes to our team needing size, at the end of the day, you play Vegas. And at the end of the day, Vegas is still Vegas. Like Krusty said, Edmonton's going to do some in-season resting. I think.
Whoa! What happened there? I don't know if that's on your end or my end. This is the first freeze up that we've had in a while. Whoa, you're back. Good.
You're back.
Oh, I froze up?
We both froze up.
Oh, okay. Well, we're unfrozen. I mean, let's face the facts. At the end of the day, Vegas was a really good team. And then Vegas got one of the top 10 players in the league. That is crazy. I did do some checking as far as the salary cap. And yes, that is implemented for this playoff. You have to be cap compliant at the start of the playoffs. So even if you hold some people away, if they are part of your playoff roster, that roster has to fit under the cap.
Who's going to have a worse time, Vegas or Florida?
I believe Vegas will.
Mark Stone can't do Mark Stone things.
They will not be able to do Mark Stone things. They've already got Perangelo, who's basically said he's done.
Yeah.
Which will leave a void back there. But Jesus, Eichel and Marner? That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Again, a good enough goaltending pair. Would I like to see them being knocked off by Calgary? Yes. I'm done with the same teams being the powerhouses. I get why people were mad at the Blackhawks. You get tired of seeing it. But, the rich get richer, at least for Vegas for now. But all eyes will be on how does that look come a playoff roster. And that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So those are our predictions. They're very fascinating.
Yes, very, very fascinating. It is what it is.
It's not what it's not.
It's not what it's not.
All right, Krusty. It's your time to shine.
Well, I'm not ready to shine.
Because we did the first two last week. Guys, we have the final two of the Mount Rushmore of Krusty. Just for folks that didn't choose to listen or missed last week. Our first two on the Mount Rushmore of Krusty is Billy Smith, who is a older goaltender, and then Amanda we refer to as Super Dave, which is Dave Bolland from the Chicago Blackhawk dynasty. So Krusty has two more players, I believe, or coaches, we did not specify, two more people in the world of hockey to list and to educate us on for the Mount Rushmore of Krusty.
I went way off script. I went way crazy land.
Love it.
So I think we did mention the Mike Keenan thing last week, and I couldn't. So I did get another former Hawk to fill in maybe for him. But I'll start where I was going to start with Bob Probert, but he was yanked off. After doing more research on Bob, he really only had that one excellent year. I mean, but Bob was great for the game, and he was a great goon that became to be a decent offensive threat. And as I said, I throw in Dino Ciccarelli with him, and that group, especially Probert, Ty Domi, were a really entertaining part of hockey for a little bit. But I went for something a little different.
Okay.
I went for somebody a little crazier, and just to let your viewers know, Krusty's not a big guy. So Krusty went with somebody who was 5 feet 6 inches and played a nasty, agitating game. Had a lot of demons. A lot of demons. But I'm going to put him on my Rushmore. Don't pay attention to his views right now because he's got some wacky ones, but that is Theo Fleury. That's right, Theo Fleury.
Okay.
Who basically started out as a 5'6" player being told, you won't make it to the NHL, and that is impossible. He proved him wrong. Okay, and he stated, just like Jeremy Roenick stated in our wonderful interview that you did with him, that being a smaller player, you had to make decisions on how you were going to play. And Theo went the same route as Roenick. Theo just decided that he would launch himself at everybody and just be the biggest ass on the planet. And that's what he did, except he was very skilled. Very skilled. Theo Fleury, I believe, had 8 30-goal seasons, over 1,000 points. And if you didn't think he played defense, he had 35 shorthanded goals. Again, I can get into some of his demons. They're a little nasty. But again, the beginning is.
Are we talking like substances demons or like Milan Lucic demons?
I'm talking substances demons. He had the same person who did a lot of bad things to Sheldon, who has done a ton of great work with hockey players as far as, I don't know how to put it on here. Young boys being taken advantage of at the end of the day. That all came out in his book later, which then led to a lot of drinking and substance abuse and everything. But it basically talks about how he just would get retaliatory penalties against him, like your Brandon Hagel would do, like almost you're seeing with your NASCAR now, just being aggressive, being a pest. But he was unbelievably talented on the offensive end. Probably could have done more had he kept everything in check. One of the greatest things was the World Juniors. He was part of, and this is just some lore for all of us, in what they called the punch-up in Pistony. It was the World Junior game against Canada and the Russians. So there was a lot of bad blood going on. In Theo's way to start this game all off is after his first goal, he basically took the hockey stick and made it like a machine gun and shot the whole Soviet Union bench, which then led to craziness and a line-clearing brawl at the beginning of the second period, where I believe everybody was kicked out. And everybody who was on the ice was not allowed to play the rest of the tourney. Basically, after that incident, they went after him hard with stick work and everything else, and it turned into craziness. So this is the kind of agitator he was. He was unbelievably nasty. But then he had a phenomenal career with the Calgary Flames. Again, he had 300-point seasons. He is a point-a-game player at 5'6". Back when you could grab everybody. Back when you could slow them down however you needed to, and he still got away and still laid hits and still played incredible defense. He then just he wore out his welcome there, and basically had a contract problem with Calgary and went to Colorado. He got traded to Colorado, went to Colorado for the end of the year, was not re-signed, was signed by the Rangers for $7 million a year, 3 years at $21 million. Struggled his first year, just adjusting to everything, and then lit it up his next 2 years with the Rangers. It's just was never able to completely keep his demons in check. And we get back to how the NHL sweeps things underneath the rug. And he came out and stated he failed 12 drug tests in a row with the New York Rangers. But as he put it, he was leading the point race, and the NHL had no desire to then be taking him off the ice in a market like New York. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about at the end of the day that the NHL is a lot of times. That would have just been such a black eye. They all knew what was going on. And then even on that year, the last 4 games, I don't think he played, and then ended up checking himself into a place. He also played 1/2 a season with your Chicago Blackhawks. Was famous for the strip club scene where there was a bench bar brawl at the strip club, and that was the last game he had ever played. Just a person, number one, that the system failed and lets you know that. And I tell this to a lot of people. I don't want to do a whole dad thing here, but if you ever think that your employer has your mental health, your anything is top on their charts, it's not.
They don't.
If you're producing, they don't care. And once you're not producing, that's that. I'm not saying that's every company. I know there's some gems out there, but for the most part, that's what I've seen. So trying to research all of this, we kept on going with, we're going to move one more time. Is that okay with you? I am going to get yelled at by the hockey princess so bad, everybody. If I'm not on next week, we will all know why. So basically, in doing the Rusher, I wanted not the best players, and right. I wanted something that had some star power. Theo has also done a ton of work as far as work for people who have been abused, and has become an advocate for, people in treatment.
Yeah.
And still has gotten crazier too. As he's put it, a lot of dry drunk years, this or that. Okay, we're here so I can get another quick light in. That leaves us with one spot open.
One more. And as I said, we were, you had kind of suggested, well, let's put a coach on. And I'm like, okay, what's a crusty coach like? Is it the coach we were talking about this weekend?
I don't think it's the coach we were talking about this weekend. There was a couple that Krusty went over. Number one is Q, I believe.
Oh, not
Q.
that one.
And the other one was, of course, the the coach of your Miracle on Ice team. But I just figured Herb just didn't do enough in the NHL. It was a little bit of, and then I felt that's a cop out for me. Herb Brooks, like that, that's really off the, Herb has gotten accolades like crazy. So, who else is a crusty coach? I went with Daryl Sutter. That's my kind of coach. Daryl Sutter has probably gotten the most out of the least talent out of any coach I've ever known. He started out with the Hawks as a player. He was part of the Sutter family, and they all played this constant work ethic, that constant beat it in, no shifts off kind
the
of
Sutter
thing.
family is kind of the embodiment of crusty old guy.
In a lot of ways, yes. And Krusty's going to be the first to tell you, with every crusty guy you have, you need a Patrick Kane, or else you don't win in this league.
Exactly.
But he won 2 cups with Anze Kopitar and Brown, and not the most unbelievably talented team. He had a Drew Doughty, but that was it. His teams played from the net out, limited chances. And the great thing about his career is, number one, it was extremely long. He had a slight problem when he finally came to the Hawks. That was during the whole end of Keenan's time, when Keenan wanted to be GM.
I think we need a moment on an episode to just explain Mike Keenan and the timeline and the concept of Mike Keenan. Because, guys, I'm going to be real. The only thing that I really know about Mike Keenan is what Krusty tells me and what Sam Fells used to write when I was a kid. So I think we need to get into Keenan a little bit. Not today, but at a point.
Okay. No, because it's about Daryl Sutter. So basically, he did 3 years with the Hawks back when they were still a decent powerhouse. They were 5th in the Central, 3rd in the Central. They lost in the conference finals in 95, and then he decided to take some time off. His youngest has Down syndrome, and he wanted to spend some time with him. He's known as the Jolly Farmer because he has a huge farm up in Calgary way. But this is when you start to see his team and what happens to coaches also. He took a crap team in 97-98 that were your San Jose Sharks and basically had 15-point improvements every year. They went from 4th in the Pacific, then 2nd, then 1st. But again, never made it past the semifinals. So after he had built this team in San Jose and got them playing all the right way, they figured, we need more. And once you're at that point, usually the people that go are a coach or a general manager. So off he went, and then he went to Calgary and basically put Calgary back into a powerhouse team. Calgary was fighting where they couldn't afford to pay everybody.
Right.
So you didn't have the same amount of talent, but basically he was unbelievable in those 3 years. They went from 5th to 3rd to 1st in the division. And then again, they figured, well, that's, we need somebody to get us over the hump. And off he went to LA. And you all know what happened when he went to LA.
Good stuff.
He won 2 Stanley Cups. Probably gets a 3rd if it's not for the Chicago Blackhawks. Just a coach that
it's a 2nd because of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Well, yeah. 2nd might be because, there was an offsides or 2 that wasn't called. There's a lot of conspiracies out there. But basically, the Kings teams played the right way, especially that first championship. Again, it was the Jonathan Quick standing on his head. But again, there's just not a ton of opportunities. He took what he had and made them play a certain way. And to me, it was always beautiful to watch. He was hated by just about everybody, hated by the media because he just was grumpy. And if you asked a stupid question, he'd give you a stupid answer. And the whole buildup of how big everything was, he never quite saw that. He always was like, it's a hockey game. It's pretty simple stuff. I don't know what we're doing here with this big conversation with the press, but it's simple stuff. You see it. You should. We don't need to really do this. And that made him even hated more.
Oh my God, I love that.
And so I like that kind of guy. Does he wear out his welcome? Sure. He wore out his welcome with the Kings. They basically quit on him and they said, the message is just, but I believe that's for any team.
Yeah.
You see how Florida plays right now. You saw how the Kings played. You saw how the Blackhawks in their dynasty years played. To completely play the right way, it's hard. You don't take an easy path. And it's easier to do when you're winning. Because winning cures all, and you're okay with giving that extra 20%
when you're winning.
When you're winning. But when you're losing, it's, God, I got to stick my nose in there again. I'm just not in the mood to. And,
right.
That's what we're talking about the Blackhawks. That's where the Blackhawks are right now. I don't want to stick my nose in. We stink anyways.
Right.
And then he also went back to Calgary and got them to first again in his other stint. Again, just not a well-liked guy. He demanded a lot. And if you didn't produce, again, there was an accountability that was huge. Definitely a coach now that I believe his time has passed. But at no point do I read or see that he is the prick that was Mike Keenan, Babcock, where they were just also
Tortorella.
Yeah, I had thought about Torts too on this.
Oh, I wouldn't let you put Torts on a Rushmore on my show.
Right.
No.
In Torts, I believe Torts has such locked on thinking that this is the way you have to play. Sutter didn't. I mean, some of those Kings teams would run and gun.
Yeah.
He took what he had talent-wise and tried to mold it as much as possible. So that's why he's on my mind. I looked at Al Arbor, who's another phenomenal coach. There's some unbelievable coaches. As I said, I couldn't put Herb on. I just figured I'm doing the show a disservice. I'm copping out. Anybody can come on, and so that's who I went with. That's my little Mount Rushmore. They all have
Mount Rushmore of Krusty.
That's our Mount Rushmore of Krusty. All of them except for Billy Smith have a little bit of a Black Hawk, at least filter in there a tiny bit. Again, I'm sure anybody who's followed this show a lot will ask where Roenick is. I just think also I have talked about JR a lot on this show, and I didn't want to then go down an easy path again with him.
I also think Roenick's, maybe it's just me, but like Roenick was not we talk about Roenick's game a lot, but this seems, you've brought up a different type of player than what I consider Roenick to be.
Yes.
Not better or worse, but just very different mental states, the way that they play the game, the style that they play, it seems different.
Yeah, some of it is. And again, with Theo Fleury, I made the comparison to Roenick, how they both wanted to. It's just, I figured that would have been another cop out. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeremy is always, he's always got a little monument anywhere I go in my life. So,
Yes, I know. All right. Well, that is our Mount Rushmore of Krusty. To finish it up real quick, just as a reminder, folks, for anybody that's wanting to join the Princess League this hockey season, all you have to do is email this email right here, thehockeyprincess@gmail.com. We'll get you the hookup with our league, the Princess League, the best fantasy hockey league there is in fantasy hockey this year. And that is all, folks. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. That is all. And we will talk to you guys next week.